All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's good to see you. We have a new member. Sarah is here. I'm not sure if Sarah's going to be able to be on. So, hello, Sarah. Sarah just joined us. A lot of you know Sarah from Periscope. So,
Hello. Hi.
hi, Sarah. How are
I
you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you going to be able to be on camera tonight?
I will probably in a little bit. I still have two kids to get to bed, so I'm going to stay muted until that's taken care of.
That's okay. That's all right.
All right.
Sounds good. Okay, everybody. All right. So we've got Allison, Cynthia, Aaron, and Sarah. Good to see you. We're going to mix it up a little bit tonight. So just get ready. All right. So let's say a prayer. Let's all close our eyes. Take a big deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, divine source, universe, all that is. We come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit. We allow tonight to be a night of love and support and of clear messages. We ask that anything that needs to be revealed to us tonight come through in the most loving and compassionate way. We ask that as we share tonight, that we are more intimately connected to our divine source, and that everything tonight is a blessing for the world. Deep breath. And together we say thank you very much.
Very much. So it is.
All right. So we are going to mix it up. So I'm going to tell you what I've kind of decided to do. Like with our other groups, we've combined the group and whatever. But what I've decided to do, I think, is that you can keep reading the course chronologically. Keep doing that. Who's reading the course chronologically? Good. Keep doing that. If you are, keep doing that. But I've kind of rethought about some things, and I thought, I remember when I was first introduced to the course, I was really taught, read it chronologically. But in the groups, when I would go to the groups, with Marianne at her house and everything, we would pick different things that we would talk about. So we were like at the back, we were in a lesson, we were in the front, we were all over. But a lot of us were reading it chronologically on our own, right? So I'm not saying we're letting go of the chronological reading of it at all, but I do want to have the freedom to be able to say, okay, we're going to work on, this week, we're going to work on chapter 11, or we're going to work on lesson 181 or whatever. But then we might come back to, but I want you to keep reading, because I'll tell you, this is how it worked the best for me, is that I was in group, we shared about what was happening, and some of the stuff was beyond me, that's for sure. Some of the stuff was like, what the fuck is going on? Are you fucking kidding me? Like some of you probably will be like, what? But I will do my best to fill you in, if there's some stuff that I'm like, I need to tell you about this concept or something because you haven't gotten there yet. But it was good because it really expanded me. But when I would go home, I was, my story is that, I went to the groups for probably about a year and a half, 2 years before I really started to do the course. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. And that's when I started doing a lesson a day. I never skipped a day. And I would read a part of the text. I'd sit down and I'd read, and then I would do a lesson every morning. And I did that for a year straight. Boom. And that changed my life. That first time changed my life. If you really want the effects of the course, to me, that's what you do. The lessons are the crux of the course, right? Because the lessons are the real, true Jedi mind training.
I have a question.
Right, Aaron?
Yeah.
It's the Jedi mind training. The lessons are the Jedi mind training. So, yes, Allison.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No, it's all good.
Exactly what I've been wondering, and I keep forgetting to ask you. I have been reading it. I'm up to chapter 7, but I'm so into the content, the lessons. I know I need to do the lessons, but only time I have to do it in the mornings, I want to spend it reading the text.
Okay.
And I haven't got to the lesson part. Maybe I'm not ready for it, but I don't know. Would it be okay to read it through and then go back and start over with the lessons? I mean, is that stupid or?
It's not stupid. That is so stupid.
Or is it
When you say that? Oh my God, you're so stupid. No, it's not stupid. Here's the deal. There's no real way to do the course. He only mentions it a couple times in the whole course, in this whole book. He only mentions a couple times. And the one thing he does say is that do not do the lessons out of order, for that may cause trauma. He uses like some intense words, I forget but trauma or, confusion and trauma at the least or something like that. Because you will be going through, because the lessons are so specifically set up. It's set up to literally break down your thought system based on love and rebuild it. Based on fear and rebuild it based on love.
Right.
So you might get to a lesson in that you're like, oh shit, I don't know what that is. I can't get it. But if you do one a day and you stick with one a day and you don't go, this is what I'll tell you, this is what most people do. They go, okay, I'm going to do it. And they go, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's around 7, 8, 9-ish. They go, I don't get it. Let me just do it again.
Well, that's kind of the way I felt.
Do it again.
That's kind of the way I felt. But I was just doing one a day.
Right.
So that's why I decided to go ahead and start reading more of the text, because that might help it.
Yeah.
You get ready for the lessons?
It does. But I want you to understand that the Course in Miracles is not about understanding. Take a deep breath. It's about allowing yourself to be reminded of what you already know.
True.
Do I remember correctly? Doesn't it say somewhere early in the lessons too, don't worry about if you don't understand it, just do it anyway?
He says that in the introduction.
Okay.
He says, you will actively resist this, even like hate it or something like that. He's like, that does not matter.
Just do it anyway.
Keep doing it. You keep doing it.
And then the understanding or the allowing, the integrating of it happens regardless.
The integrating, right. It happens naturally. It's so methodically put together that it will happen if you get it or not.
Okay.
But you will get it. Right? Okay. And so what people do, they wait to understand it. And they go, okay, I just want to wait to get it. They always use get it. And then they go, I'll get it. But what happens is that in general, like the next lesson or 2 or 3 lessons totally explains it. And you're like, well, shit, I should have just fucking kept going because it's totally telling me what I didn't get.
Right.
Yep. And just know that the ego wants you to be like, I have to get it.
Yeah, because I've been like Allison. I was doing the lessons, and then yes, it was, and so I've been reading the text. But what I'm hearing you say is the lessons are the key. So
it really is.
Okay, and can I just ask, how much did you read of the text every morning?
I would do. It all depends. I followed my intuition, right? So
Okay.
So sometimes I'd read a whole chapter, sometimes I'd read just a section of a chapter.
Okay.
But I definitely finished the first year. I kind of had a goal. I was like, I'm going to do this every single day. Yeah. And I remember I started on March 7th and I ended up on March 6th. So I did it. And I was like, I'm going to read this whole book by the end of the year. So I had a kind of a goal, right? So I would take like an hour every morning. I would just sit with my coffee. Yeah. And I would read, I would highlight, I would do the lesson. Okay. And then that time, that was before all the cell phones and all that stuff. And they used to have, and I have them in New York. They had index cards with every lesson printed on it, right? And then it had a
Yeah.
sheath that you
Yeah.
could put it in so you could carry it around with you. Right.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? I think you can still get them. And it's really cool. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's in a card catalog and you can just go,
Yeah.
and you can bring that around with you, can read it. Now you can just put it on your phone, but so that's
Okay.
that's what I did.
All right.
I got the app, but I didn't allow, so I let my ego take over and was stressing out about not remembering and
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's great. And listen, just remember, there is no wrong or right way to do this. The only thing is that he does say, really do not do the lessons out of order.
Got it.
And I'm going to break that rule for a second, because sometimes as a lecturer, as a teacher, I will say we're going to work on lesson 71 today. But I will make sure that you understand.
Would be best, yeah.
Right? Would be best.
Okay.
It's a little different. So it's a little different.
Drop us in the deep end.
Yeah. I mean, I was, So
You turned out okay.
I turned out okay. Erin, did you want to say anything about it?
I know that there's been times when I don't do it. Like if it says to do a lesson like every 8 minutes throughout the day or whatever, or sit for 10 minutes every hour. There's definitely times when there's been days when I've been like, maybe I should repeat that one tomorrow because I didn't do such a great job with it today.
Yeah.
But I never do. I just keep moving through it. And then my other thing is and then I'll be like, maybe I'll do it again another year, and do a better job with that one next year. But I don't even know if I would say I'm definitely going to do it. Like, what did you do when you suddenly were at day 365? Did you just stop then, or did you ever pick it back up and redo?
Everything in my whole existence changed. So I knew I've done it. I as well as I can remember, I've done it straight through 7 times. I think 8.
Okay.
So your whole existence changes when you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't not. If you do it the way it does it, you will have a transcendent experience. And that's what we're all kind of looking for, to be of the world, in the world, but not of the world. And that's what it will do for you if you really do it, right? And some people never read the text at all. They just do the lessons. So everybody's different, everyone's different.
So good.
Yeah.
What about then repeating a lesson? Because like Erin was saying, some of those, where they ask you to do it for every hour, and let's say I'm not able to, whatever, should I then try the same lesson again the next day? No?
He even refers to that a couple times. He's like, he gives you kind of a break. He's like, okay, so if you don't do it, I'm totally paraphrasing. He's like, so don't do it, it's okay, just move on.
Okay.
Because
right.
What's one of the biggest tenets of A Course in Miracles? The F word, right?
Forgiveness.
Yes. Oh, right. Forgiveness. Right. So forgive yourself for screwing up the lesson. Okay. All right. I can practice that.
That's right. Good. Okay. Let's do a very good. Any other questions about that? And Sarah's probably muted, so you can ask anything you want. Say anything, Sarah?
Thank you for clearing that up.
Sure. I want to make sure that you all know that. So, okay, let's go around real quickly and share one blessing that we had this week. I'll go first. One blessing I had so many. I'll say, here's a blessing. Okay, here's a blessing. I had so many. Last night I went out with Andrea to Malibu. I sat with my friend. We went to Malibu. We had drinks. We had fun to these beautiful places, and it was just great. And I had a real blessing and it was about forgiveness and about self-acceptance, totally. Because we're in this really nice place called the Shutters on Santa Monica on the beach. Does anyone know that? It's just absolutely beautiful hotel. I come in to drive in the valet, and I'm like, my little cart's fucking dirty as hell. Hi. Hi. Like the valet is like $25, you know, and you got to, it's like that.
My Mercedes is in the shop. This is all they had.
Exactly. And it's not that just like, I mean, my car was just filthy. It's like, okay. Anyway, so, but I'm like, I'm home anywhere. I'm like, whatever. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like packed and really, this is like where Angelina Jolie stays. This is where, like, you know, it's like that kind of place. And it's absolutely beautiful. I'm like, meet Andrea there. We go up, drink, and you know those wine glasses that are really high and are really thin, that are big bowl on the top? I hate those glasses. And I'm always like, oh God, those glasses. So of course I attracted this. I literally in this cool place. But it's, I mean, it wasn't like a restaurant. We were like in it's the lobby area that has drinks and whatever. Thank God we weren't on the fucking couches because it would have been horrible. I mean, literally, I'm like, we're talking to, bam.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And like, and it all, the first glass went all over. Andrea was about fit to be tied. She was laughing so hard. And you know those moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm so fucking embarrassed, but it's so funny. People around are looking and they can see that the glass didn't break, but the wine just went, whoa. Thank God I was wearing all black. That was good. And I was like, and the whole time I was like battling with my ego, like, you should be embarrassed. Like, and I was like, I literally had a blessing because I had this whole kind of transcendent experience that I was just like, it's all good, whatever. And I had this real kind of mystical experience from that because I had to deal with my ego. So I had this great mystical experience. It was such a blessing because I was like, yeah, I'm actually okay, whatever. And then, of course, later on, I do it again. And I was not drunk. I literally wasn't drunk. And I was like,
how could you be drunk when you're spilling all the wine on your pants?
Exactly. So anyway, it was such a blessing. My blessing is that I was really able to let go of my ego going, people think you are a total dweeb. You came here with your dirty 1994 car. And I was literally had this transcendent, like, it's all good. It was really fun. So, it was really good. You get those kind of situations. That's my blessing. My blessing was I was able to transcend it and not be embarrassed and be just like, it's fun.
Nice.
So, it was good. It was good. Okay, who's next?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Aaron.
So my son Rowan, who is 6 now, we went to the pulmonologist today, and that's his lung doctor. He was born really early. He was born at 26 weeks gestation, and he was on a ventilator with a trach for the first 2 years of his life. He had a breathing machine. So he's seen a pulmonologist ever since then. But today, they told us that he is, and he wants you to know he got a flu shot.
Yay!
Good job.
Yay! But today he graduated. He doesn't have to go back to see the pulmonologist anymore because he's doing that well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey, Rowan, we love you.
Here. Are you happy?
Yeah.
So that was a blessing this week.
That's a big blessing.
Yeah.
My granddaughter was born at 28 weeks, and she wasn't. So I'm very grateful to hear that. That's so pleasant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice, Aaron. Beautiful. Great. Thank you. That's a good one. Who is next?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
I got to make some new friends today, which was on my list of things to do this past week. I opened myself up. I really had to work on my ego because I was really not wanting to go because it was early in the morning. But I went, and I just happened to sit next to this lady that is in like areas in real estate, and I'm very excited. It's really was a very pleasant day. It ended up.
Oh,
So
Nice.
I'm very grateful.
Good for you. Yay!
yay.
Look at you being a master manifester.
Got it.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Allison. Good. Either Cynthia or I'm not sure if Sarah's around. But...
Well, I'll go because,
Go,
you know,
Cynthia.
I'm here. I don't want to go into the details, but I've been having a period of great difficulty with one of my best friends. She's behaving in ways that she's never behaved before, and it's been causing a great deal of tension and sadness for me. So anyway, and I've been trying to work through it and using Course in Miracles and whatever I could. And it's been really hard. It's been a long go. But today I seem to have gotten over the hump. I've managed to do the forgiveness, I've just had total peace in my heart, and I was able to let all of that go. And we spent a bit of time together today, and it went a lot better than it has been going. So that peace and forgiveness, and that was just
Great.
wonderful. It's such a good feeling.
Good for you. Great. Yay, Cynthia. That's so great. Makes me think about the meditation that we did this morning. That was all about letting go of the thought that things should be the way we want them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of idea of letting go that it should be a certain way.
Yeah.
That's really, really powerful. So beautiful. That's great. I love it. And you know what? Relationships grow.
Yeah, they change, and if we'll see what the future brings.
You don't need
But
to.
I'm going to stay in the present moment.
Good. Very
Yeah.
good. That's awesome. Beautiful. I love it. Very good. Sarah, are you around? Do you want to say anything or no?
Yeah, I have a second. My blessing would just be to be a part of the group. I'm happy to finally I've been watching the replays in the Facebook group to kind of catch up a little bit, but I'm happy to finally be a part of the live group.
Hey,
So.
glad you're here. Well, welcome. We're blessed to have you here, Sarah. Sarah has been, such an active member of the community for so long. It's just like when she said, I really want to, and I was like, yeah, for sure.
I'm a little nervous. This is my first time being on camera or audio or anything, so sorry if
It's
sorry
okay.
if I sound silly, but
It's all good. Sarah, I just want to ask you, do you have a copy of A Course in Miracles?
I don't have my copy yet, but I'm using an online
Good
version, so
Good.
version I found. So
okay, great, because there is that searchable online one that you can go to.
I haven't really read on my own or anything. I've just watched the replays and so.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. Great to have you here.
All right.
All right. So I said earlier that we were going to switch things up a little bit. So we are, I think, where this class is, we are on page 15, Distortion and Miracle Impulses. Is that where we are?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we're not going to do that tonight.
Okay.
Well, we're not doing that. We are going to go to, in the text, we're going to go to page 193, which is chapter 11, and it is God or the Ego. Good part. This is a good part. And this is a great section because it really does, well, I don't want to tell you. You'll get it. Totally get it. I think it's important to kind of understand this because you hear me talk all the time and we've talked, and even though you're not at this point in the course, you hear me talk about the ego all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really important that we understand what God and the ego is, and about the insanity and the sanity of life, and what our mind is doing. So I thought, you know what, this is a great part to do tonight. Sound good, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Who has their highlighter? My highlighter is bigger than yours.
I got 3, okay.
You got but it's not as big as mine.
You and your highlighter envy.
I know, right? I'm such a boy, right? All right. So, yeah, this is the biggest highlighter in the world. All right. So, as we always do. Sarah, I think are you on the online searchable one?
She's muted.
Okay.
She might have had to go tuck him in.
Yeah, that's okay. Leave it. We'll leave it. Okay. All right. So we're all there? 193?
Yep.
So I will read first, and then we'll move on. The order is how you spoke. So it's going to be me, Aaron, Allison, Cynthia, Sarah. Okay? All right. So I'll take a big deep breath. Go. Chapter 11, God or the Ego. Introduction. The first line is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Either God or the ego is insane. Don't you love it? I love how it's so perfect. It's just always those little lines that you're like, uh-huh.
It's like a zinger.
Yeah. And he just like puts those in where you're just like, I know, I get it. Okay, let's keep going. Either God or the ego is insane. If you will examine the evidence on both sides fairly, you will realize this must be true. Neither God nor the ego proposes a partial thought system. Each is internally consistent, but they are diametrically opposed in all respects, so that partial allegiance is impossible. That's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Remember too, that their results are as different as their foundations, and their fundamentally irreconcilable natures cannot be reconciled by I never said that right, vacillations between them. This is such a good line. Oh my God, this is so good. Nothing alive is fatherless, for life is creation. Therefore, your decision is always an answer to the question, who is my father? And you will be faithful to the father you choose. Take a deep breath.
Wow.
What's going on, Aaron?
I just thought, who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Daddy.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Sorry.
No, it's good. No, it's good. It's always okay to laugh. But I mean, really, I'm telling you, the more you do the work and the more you live your life, the more you get this, right, everyone?
Mm.
And you're either going to be heir to the laws of the ego, and that's your father, which is insanity, or you're going to be heir to the laws of God, which is peace and joy and love. There's really no in between. You're either going to go there or you're going to go here. And what he says is like, really he talks, whoa, what happened? Bye, Allison. What he really says is that whole idea about you can't live in two worlds. You can't. But what part of you can convince you that you can?
The ego?
The ego. The ego will be like, oh, well, that's great. I really understand that. I totally get it. But then you hate yourself. But then you go, oh, but I can only have this in my life. Limitations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Well, Aaron, you are next. So are you ready to read? I don't know
Mhm.
where Allison is. I thought Allison was next. So you want to say anything about this before we
Can
move
I
on?
just,
Yes.
I mean, I love this passage and it's profound, but now and then as I'm reading or we're reading, I just have this thing about like it's just so gender. Is that all right if sometimes I cross out father and write in mother just so that I don't have this? Because seriously, that's kind of patriarchal, and that was one of the reasons, one of the issues I had with my religion, because it
Sure.
puts. Is that all right? I mean, I'm still
Totally all
getting
right.
the message, and it's
Listen,
still, I'm still feeling it, but yeah.
sure.
Okay, thank
Why
you.
not?
All right.
I remember, listen, I started doing this, not long after the ERA was really big. Hello, that's old.
Oh,
And there would be women come in, they're like, this is misogynistic, and they lose their mind. And I remember this one girl in the group that we were in, and Marianne's like, well, she's like, here's a marker. Just go cross out every single time it says he or father. Just do it. Just go. It doesn't matter. Who cares? You know what she did? She started doing it. She's like, this is insanity. Why am I doing this? But I totally
yeah,
respect you. Totally respect you. I
yeah.
totally get it. Yep, I totally get it. Same mother. It's okay.
Because the way I get around it is like I do he, she. I kind of alternate so that, like, just in daily life, even,
Right.
just so that there's not this, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, okay. So I'll do it for a while, and then probably I'll be able just to let
Doesn't
go of
matter.
it entirely.
Just here's the deal. The whole thing about the course is peace.
Right.
Just do the thing that gives you peace.
Okay.
He
All
doesn't-
right.
Do what feels good.
And that's right, Sarah. That's right. And do what feels right to you. And that's right. And also remember, I want to say this is really important too, because when you get into it for a while, you will start to see how duality works.
Right.
Male, female is duality.
Well, yeah, which is,
Right. So it's like, you're like, well, am I going to make it worse or making it better? It's like, that's what the ego starts doing. So do it. Just say mother.
okay. Okay.
Mother. I mean, please, you know how I start my prayers.
Yeah, I know, and I love that, and that it feels really good. So maybe I can just insert mother/father, like maybe even that would be. It's just, yeah.
Just
Feminism was a real big part of my training because my specialty was child sexual abuse. So I'm really sensitized to.
hey, listen, I'm sensitized when anybody, because part of my training is very much like that. I'm super sensitized when people say, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to like shoot somebody because I'm like, they're not guys, those are women. So stop saying guys. And that's just one of my things. So I get it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Thank you. All right.
Answer is yes. All right, Aaron, let's move on. Let's read number 2.
Okay. Yet, what would you say to someone who believed this question really involves conflict?
And Rim, what's the question? Who's my father?
Who's your daddy? If you made the ego, how can the ego have made you?
Hmm.
The authority problem is still the only source of conflict because the ego was made out of the wish of God's Son to father him.
Do you get that line?
No.
Read that again. The authority problem.
The authority problem is still the only source of conflict.
You get that? So the authority problem is the only source of conflict.
Like, who is going to be your authority?
Right. And also, in other parts of the course, he'll say, this is where I have to fill in a little bit for you, is that he says you have an authority problem. You think you made God,
Oh.
but God made you. So we are part of God, but we didn't make God. And that's the authority problem. We think we are the creator, but we're really co-creating with the vibration, the energy that created us. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
So now that you understand that, now reread that again.
The authority problem is still the only source of conflict. Because the ego was made out of the wish of God's Son to father him.
Okay.
So we wanted to.
Think about the separation. Think about when Adam, the story of Adam, saying, I could do it on my own. I'm going to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I'm going to do my own thing. And basically, it comes from this whole idea that God's Son was going to create God. I'll do what God does.
Yeah, because the H is capitalized. So
That's right. That's right, Aaron.
Okay.
So if you say the authority problem is still the only source of conflict, right? You get that. You think that you made that God, that you make up.
Right.
Because the ego is literally made out of the wish of God's Son in a better word is to control God.
Yeah.
The ego was made because God's Son decided, I'm going to control God.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
Does that make sense? It's crazy.
Kind of. It's getting there.
Yeah. It's like this, everyone. Think about it like this. It's kind of like, it's like you having control, you deciding, and you as a nurse, you'll get this, you deciding, I now have control of the impulses that make somebody's heart go. Insane.
Yeah.
You don't have control of that,
Mm-mm.
right? And you don't even have control of your own heart.
Right.
It is that thing that's making your heart control, which is what we call God. I mean, beat, whatever, right?
Right.
So it's like saying that. That's how insane it is.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that's just life. Well, yeah,
Right.
you can control life.
Hmm.
No, you can't. But you're part of life.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. The ego, then, is nothing more than a delusional system in which you made your own father.
See?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Make no mistake about this. It sounds insane when it is stated with perfect honesty, but the ego never looks on what it does with perfect honesty.
Of course.
Yet that is its insane premise, which is carefully hidden in the dark cornerstone of its thought system. And either the ego which you made is your father, or its whole thought system will not stand.
No. Sarah's like, what the hell did I jump into? This is heavy stuff.
It's pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy. But it's really important. I really thought this was an important part because it talks about the ego mindset, what the ego is doing and what you are doing with the ego, between you and God and the ego. It's really important that you see this because when you start to see this, you start to see it everywhere in the world. You start to go, whoa, there it is, right there. They think they have any kind of control. That's completely their ego. You see, and how insane it is. Anyone want to say anything? I don't know if you're back, Sarah, or not. And Allison, I don't know where you are.
I'm back. I'm sorry. The
Okay.
wind must have knocked out my connection or something. My computer is totally wonky.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
But I'm on my phone. I don't know if I can make the video start, but I'm here.
You're here? Sarah, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Good. Are you following along on your online?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find it on the online thing, but I'm listening.
It's chapter 11,
Okay.
and it's the introduction. So
Okay.
the online thing, I think, are you on that one that's the searchable Course in Miracles?
Yeah, I think so. I
So
don't know.
on the left side, there should be a thing that you see all the chapters and everything. You see that?
Now I'm so far messed up that I don't know where I am, but I'll find it.
Okay. All right. Do you want to just since you know you can, I mean, is there anything question you have or anything that you want to say now about what we're talking about?
No, I'm liking it.
Good. Okay. And this is all about us exploring and discovering, right? So there's no question that you can't ask or comment. Okay. All right. So here we go. Allison, I know that you just kind of missed that.
Yes.
last one.
That's okay. At least it was just one paragraph.
Yeah, it's one paragraph,
Go
but it
back
was
and
a good
watch
one.
that.
But it was a good one.
I'm sure. It sounded what I caught of it. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the Reader's Digest. It talks all about how we believe we created God, and that's why everything's right. So basically, that's it. So
That's so amusing.
yeah, right? That's so amusing. All right, let's go to number 3, Allison.
Okay. You make by projection, but God creates by extension.
Stop. That's really big. Say that again.
Yeah. You make by projection, but God creates by extension.
That's a really big, huge thing in A Course in Miracles, everybody. And so you're either projecting with the ego or you're extending with love. So you know when in traditional psychology, they're like, you're projecting your shit all over that. That's what projection is. So all of your fears, all of your worries, all of your insecurities, all of your abuse, all of your stuff, you go, oh, look, there's Cynthia. She's the perfect embodiment of my mother. I hate you.
I do get that in my line of work.
Well, of course. So Cynthia knows. So Cynthia, this is total projection. So we are constantly projecting our stuff onto the world. Our fears, our guilt, our sacrifice, all that stuff. And then we're like, I wonder why we're crazy. Because we're just projecting. And then if you're in the Science of Getting Rich class, we talk all about how we're here to create, not to compete. So if you literally extend from love, you're creating. You're creating. And that's what this whole thing of God creates by extension. So the God within us will create by extending love, compassion, peace, connection, whatever happens to it. Right?
Love it.
I love it. Okay, let's keep going.
I got back my
You're back.
computer.
Looking beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You do look great.
Thanks so much. The cornerstone of God's creation is you.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet? For his thought system is light. Remember, the rays that are there unseen.
I have to you want me to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Really quickly. So he talks about in the Course, he talks about when you start to transcend duality and you heal, then will you see the great rays.
Wow, I just got total body chills.
Yeah.
Love that.
So the great rays are literally eminence of light. Aura.
Ding.
Auras. What is in every single religious painting?
Aura.
Yeah.
Halo, right? So that's what he's referring to right there. Remember, the rays that are unseen are there unseen because you don't see them with the physical eye, you perceive them with your spiritual eye.
Right.
You see it with God. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Love that very much.
Mm-hmm. The next one is really good.
The more you approach the center of his thought system, the clearer the light becomes.
Oh, I love it.
The closer you come to the foundation of the ego's thought system, the darker and more obscure becomes the way.
Is that the most perfect
Yeah.
description?
It's so, I don't
Yeah.
know, poetic or perfect. I mean,
It's the truth.
nailed it.
Because the more that you are in obscurity and darkness and craziness, now that you're Course in Miracles students, you go, oh, I'm being run by the ego. The ego has got me in this moment, right? But the more that you do the work, the more you naturally are, what he says, that the clearer the light becomes.
Yeah.
It all becomes so simple and easy and beautiful. So nice, right?
Beautiful.
Okay, keep going. You got a really beautiful part to me.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, even the little spark in your mind is enough to lighten it.
Oh.
That's so cool. Bring this light fearlessly with you and bravely hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system. Be willing to judge it with perfect honesty.
Yeah.
Open the dark cornerstone of terror on which it rests and bring it out into the light. Wow. There you will see, page is not one, which one? There you will see that it is, there you will see it rested on meaningless, and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing.
Read that. You've got to read that last line again.
I do.
Read from some number 9.
Yes, back up a little. Open the dark cornerstone of terror on which it rests and bring it out into the light. There you will see that it rested on meaningless and that every meaninglessness, I'm sorry, that it rested on meaninglessness and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing. There's one to memorize.
What is that? I want to find out what that does to you. What does that do to you vibrationally? What is it? What feelings? Who wants to share? Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
It's just really comforting. I mean, at first when I started studying this, I kept doing the, God, why didn't I, wow, kind of thing. But it's like, this is reassuring that it's just, it is insane, as it started off saying, either God or the ego is insane.
Yeah.
And it's just clarifying it to the nth degree that if we choose to be willing to bring it all out into the light and really look at it, it's not so,
It's nothing. That line, number 8, be willing to judge it with perfect honesty, is so important. Right? I always say, what do I always say? Honesty is one of the highest order spiritual principles there is. Because if you can't be honest, you're just, what I say, pouring, pink icing over a shit cake. Doesn't work, right?
No,
Doesn't work.
not even.
It's so comforting. It's so beautiful. And it's so, to me, you know, this section right here is so a reminder. It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's kind of like, what's your problem? What's your problem? It's all okay.
Well, it's like I've finally stopped beating myself up for being sucked in by it because I was taught that way. I learned well that way, as most of us have. And yet it's like I can finally breathe again.
Yeah, that's what do I always say? Relief is the vibration of God. When you have true relief, you're going, ah,
Yes.
it's all good. It's all good. I don't have to change. I don't have to try. I don't have to push. It's already there. That's when you really get that whole idea, what he says in the introduction. Only love is real.
Mm-hmm.
Just remove those blocks, and you remove those blocks to it, you start to go, oh, it is. It's true. So beautiful. Just beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, it's like I have a note, notes all over my book, right? So you know what I have at the top of there is the, and of course I refer to it all the time, I think you know, the Wizard of Oz, right?
I love that.
When the curtain is pulled. You know, because everything is so like, oh my God, it's such a big deal, and da 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 da. And then what does, you know, and you know Toto is spirit, is God that's with her all the time, right? So Toto never leaves her side ever, and Toto is always the one that brings her to truth. And so Toto pulls the curtain, and it's like, oh, it's just a joke. It's all nothing. And I believed in it the whole time that I was trying, and it's like, okay, this is all a joke. It's nothing.
It's kind of like Santa Claus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like when as a child we used to believe in it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like that, right? So, but the difference, I mean, I guess it's the same, but in the you know, in The Wizard of Oz, it's just so clear. It's like it's all a sham. You have been following a false leader. Is the ego that is like, you're gonna do this and it's gonna be great. You're gonna have control, and then I'm gonna give you power and all that stuff. It's like, oh no, it's just some little guy behind a curtain going, rah, rah. Right? It's really nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I like the notion that it does take bravery to get there, though, because it says, like, take your little tiny spark and hold it up against the big thing.
Read that line. Read that line.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's right. It's number 7.
Yet even the little spark in your mind is enough to lighten it. Bring this light fearlessly with you and bravely hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system. Because when you're there, it seems like it's so much bigger than you.
Right.
That's the thing, what you always say about the turtle.
That's right.
Because that little spark will turn and, like, slowly it just gets chipped away.
Yeah.
But it seems so big and scary at the time.
Right.
To put all that out into the light.
And which part of you wants to keep believing that it's fearless? I mean, that's scary and big.
The ego. Yeah.
The ego's like, oh no, don't go there. No. Don't go there. No. And then you know, when you face your fears, this is complete psychology 101, right? Cynthia will understand this. It's psychology 101. But most of us are not doing it.
No.
You have to be honest before you can transcend it. It's the shadow work. It's like all of that work. That's like, you've got to see it. And I love that you pointed that out, because I love that. Bring this light fearlessly with you. And it kind of implies this, you have to have courage to do this work.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have courage and be like, I am going to overcome this insanity to come back to my peace, then you will fall back asleep. You'll just keep falling back asleep. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Glad you brought that up, Aaron. Nice. Okay. All right. Anyone want to say anything before we move on?
I love it.
Good.
I'm just going to move to a different room since my kids are sleeping now. So I'll be back. It's okay. They sleep through everything.
Sarah, did you get your kids to sleep?
She still is. She's not muted. She's just moving rooms.
Oh, yeah. My kids are asleep. I thought you were asking.
I was just saying. Okay. All right. Let's move on to paragraph 4, and that is Cynthia. Cynthia, can you read number 4?
Sure. Okay. My brother, you are part of God and part of me. When you have at last looked at the ego's foundation without shrinking, you will also have looked upon ours.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's beautiful, right?
I come to you from our Father to offer you everything again. Do not refuse it in order to keep a dark cornerstone hidden, for its protection will not save you. I give you the lamp, and I will go with you. You will not take this journey alone. I will lead you to your true Father, who hath need of you as I have. Will you not answer the call of love with joy? Oh my goodness.
Wow. Like a love letter.
Cry, just like I just have to cry. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I was going to say that tears my eyes up.
Can you read number 4 again?
Yeah. Do not refuse it in order to keep a dark cornerstone hidden, for its protection will not save you. Yeah.
Keep going. The next part's so good.
I give you the lamp, and I will go with you. You will not take this journey alone. I will lead you to your true Father, who hath need of you as I have. Will you not answer the call of love with joy? Yeah, that's just...
It's almost like you just don't even need to say anything, right?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, right? It's just, there's so much about the Course that's just, it changes your vibration. And it's such a beautiful reminder because, you hear that and you go, oh, yeah. There is that. I think it's so, there's also a whole other kind of like, oh, you had to read the thing about going back to your father.
I know. I had the first sentence, right? I'm like, all right, all right.
You made you read the thing about the father.
Yep. And I didn't substitute mother, but it still got me, right? And it's still...
But it's like, literally, it's that vibration of creation, of life, love, that's just like, it's always on your side. It's always there for you. As long as you know that and you really get that, I will give you the lamp and I will go with you. I will be with you. It's always an option if we choose it. Always an option, no matter what. And it's so sweet and so incredibly poignant and so simple. So simple. Yeah. Because if we really know that, boy, oh boy, things, your whole life starts to be like, what's the problem?
I know, right?
What's the problem? That's why I'm telling you, and I'm just going to come back to the lesson. lessons, there's a whole section in the lessons that are so incredibly beautiful. And they are all, this one section of about 10 lessons that are all about God is the vision with which I see. God is the love with which I feel. God is it's like, and by the time you get through those sections, you are a different person. You do not feel separated from your source anymore. You get it. And you're like, uh-huh. And then you see people and you're like, oh God, if you could just get there's peace for you. There's
Yeah.
peace, right?
That's the hard thing to me right now, is seeing the people around me that I could say a little something to, maybe. And some of them I have truly tried, and they're just like, there's no way I can do that. But I'm going to keep trying and praying for them.
Yeah.
Sending them love and light. But it's so hard I have to bite my tongue because I know if I start preaching on them, that will totally
shuts everything off.
not work.
And everyone here, get this. This is the beauty of this work. The beauty of this work is you don't have to tell anybody, because your brother is you. They are changing with you.
Yeah.
Your brothers and sisters are you. There's only one of us here, right? As you change and grow, they are too. You might not see it. And that's okay. I'm telling you, one of the most powerful things in the work that I do in my life as a testimony to this work is that all I have to do is be it. And of course, I have the great, incredible honor to be able to, help to disseminate some of this information so you can get it yourself. But even if I was just, still just acting or just doing hair or whatever, I still was doing that and people were getting the effects of it. And you too. Right? Then I have to tell them. You be that.
Yeah.
That light radiates everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Sarah, what's that smile? I see that little smile. It's so cute. What are you thinking about? What's going through your...
I was just thinking about just leading by example and just trying to live your best, and hopefully that inspires somebody else to live their best.
Yeah. And something happens when you really get this work. You change at a fundamental level. And a sense of reverence happens with your relationships that you probably have never had. Because you start to change and reverence starts to become a very big deal in your life, in your relationships. Oh, I just saw a huge angel vibration. Anyway, that's where we're at. Do you feel the vibration where we're at, everyone? You feel it's so sacred and reverential and beautiful right now? Lots of grace right here. It's really beautiful. But yeah, that's what happens when you start to do this work and you start to get what he's talking about here, and it starts to become who you are. It's like you couldn't, literally, you're like, I don't need to change you. And it's like, I just have so much love and reverence for you. It's all good. And you just walk through the world very differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's, it radiates from you in a different way. So unless I'm asked, I'm not.
Yeah.
Attempting.
Totally.
Although I was really tempted.
It's not like I'm not tempted. My ego was tempted too. I wanted to tell people how to live their life too, but I can't.
I hate to break the reference, but this is funny. It's just funny. Okay, it's kind of law of attraction, but a girlfriend of mine detests water bugs, cockroaches, right? And we live in Texas, right? Hello. They're like wearing our shoes. And she hates them so much. She posted that, why is it that I keep attracting these cockroaches? She got to the bottom of a bag of sunflower seeds.
Oh no.
Oh,
Roach.
oh,
Ah!
And I told her,
Oh,
well, if you want
oh.
some justice, you might, we're going to give me a call.
oh my God.
But I didn't say, you think it's because you focus on that so much?
Yeah. and
Oh.
that is directly, I always say, in the Course of Miracles, you create what you defend against.
Well, it's just like your wine glass story. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Same thing. Like, oh no, bam. Oh no, bam.
Yeah.
You will attract what you fear. You will attract what you fear, for sure. I love it.
But that was just.
Yeah, important. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love this chapter. Thank you for choosing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too. It's very short, and I was like, I know we couldn't go on. It's so funny, Cynthia. What's the next section called?
I know. I saw that too.
I had no idea. So funny. Anyway, but yeah, I had opened it up and I was like, God, I opened randomly, but I had been thinking we need to talk a little bit about ego stuff a little bit because, some of it's not in that very beginning part. So I'm glad that you liked it, that you got something out of this section.
Very much.
It's beautiful.
And I really, as I always say every week, I say, listen, go back and read this on your own. Make your notes, do your highlighting, sit with this alone. Sarah, were you able to find it on your?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I really would encourage you to reread this because it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So, the Course of Miracles has all different tones, right? As you're finding out, it's like some of it is so incredibly like comforting and reverential and beautiful, like some of this is, and some of it's very much like scolding and direct and like you are crazy. And
I love the first line of this. I knew I was going to love it when I read the first line.
Exactly. And,
almost like the humorous to me. Like he's going.
Well, it's like the when you're really getting the work when you laugh.
Yeah. It was.
It's true because it's that laugh of recognition. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so true. God, it's so funny, right? And then remember, he says, that the separation began because man forgot to laugh.
That always blows my mind when you say that. I mean, I know it's true. I know it says it, but it's like I forget about it, and it's like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, think about how you feel when you're like, oh no. Because what happened was that this beautiful, amazing creation is going on and, man's running around and having a great time and then goes, oh no, now I'm going to do it. Got serious. That's when separation happened.
That's so true.
And created his own father.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I'm going to do it myself because I can do it. Yeah, go ahead.
My family had no sense of humor. Okay. And that was what caused so many issues. Really, it was the brunt of a lot of problems when I think about it, because nobody had a freaking sense of humor.
Right.
It's too seriously.
Uptight and serious. Yeah.
Pick up their ass, and
But what's so great about this work is truly when you do the work and it touches on the truth, you will always laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Like,
because that's your true nature, love, laughter, joy.
right? I like that.
I do too. All right, ladies, it's 20 after. Okay, so let's go around and talk about what we're taking away from today. And Sarah, just know that you can either pick something from what we read, a line or something, or you could just say your feeling or what you experienced with us today. I will say I'll go first because it's just easier. I'm gonna come back to that line that Aaron pointed out because I think it's just beautiful. In paragraph 3, number 7, bring this light fearlessly with you and bravely hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system. kind of like I feel like that's kind of my mission in life. That's kind of my mission. Yeah. I mean, and you can see that. That's kind of like what I'm doing all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, just be brave enough to be like, here's the light. I don't care. Just keep showing the light. Keep showing the light to that insanity. Yeah. And I do really, really do love that, that one of the last nights, I give you the lamp and I will go with you.
Yeah.
That's what's standing out for me, and a sense of real gentleness tonight, which I just love. It's me. Who would like to go next?
I love the, there's so much about this I do love. The two things, if I could pick two, remember the rays that are there unseen. That is heartening to me when I heard that, but what really solidified that good, reverent, angelic feeling, or however you want to, yummy feeling that we arrived at earlier and still have, really, is the phrase, you will not take this journey alone. Just that, I will lead you to your Father. That, because I've struggled with being alone, and that just blows it away, because I'm not. And I've known that, but it's I don't know, surreal feeling. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that, Allison. Thank you. I remember when I first did the Course in Miracles, and it was so profoundly moving in my whole life, is that I would always tell my friends, I'm like, I have a date with Jesus. That's all. So I'm just going to be, and literally I'd be like all alone. I'd be like, I'm with Jesus tonight. That's what I'm doing. Just going to hang out with Jesus. And when you know it, it's like, okay, it's so good. It's so comforting. And you really know that you are not alone.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, Allison. Who's next?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
So I guess I would say it's the bookends. The two lines that really stick out for me are either God or the ego is insane. Bam. Yeah, just, and then in a totally different feeling kind of place, will you not answer the call of love with joy? And that just, I don't know, there's a feeling of ease when I read that, and almost like I swear I can almost feel my heart opening when I read that.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Thank you. Because your heart does open when you do this work. That's why. Beautiful. Thank you, Cynthia. Sarah or Aaron?
My favorite part was really the same thing that you were talking about, Max. But the other thing that I thought about a lot was the language that you were talking about, Cynthia, the masculine language, and because that rubbed me the wrong way too for a while at first. But I always think about, like, because I have a degree in English, and like I studied linguistics for a little bit too, and what just struck me was just how limited our language is to talk about stuff like this. Like, we just don't really have the words for it, and that's just an example of it to me. Like, to say, you have to say father or mother, unless you want to say mother, father, or you could get really complicated about it, or you could just be like, well, screw it, I know what it means. It's not really just that.
Right.
Not really just a man, you know what I mean? So the other thing too is my lesson for today had something about being the sun. And a lot of times when it talks about it being the sun or the sonship, in my mind, I think of the sun, like, that's in the sky and just full of light. And to me, like, I don't know if maybe that would help you when you get to that too, but sometimes I just do little replacements like that, but I guess that was what stuck out for me, those two things.
Thanks, Aaron. That's good. I like that you said that. The other thing I do want to just address this before Sarah goes. Cynthia, and all of you, is that, and I think that you might have heard me say this, what he says about words is really actually very powerful in the Course in Miracles. So Jesus says that words are symbols of a symbol of a symbol of a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning they're literally four generations removed from the actual intention.
What it is.
By the time it actually comes out, it's literally 4 levels away from the actual intention of the thought or the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You think about that, and it's true. So by the time you actually say whatever it happens to be, anything, the intention has been processed 3 or 4 times before. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right? Good. Sarah, I'm so glad that you're here. What are you taking away? What stands out for you?
From paragraph 3, line 10 there, there you will see that it rested on meaninglessness and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing. That's something, there's one of my very favorite Tom Petty songs actually has a line in it that says, most of the things I worry about never happen anyway. And so a lot of times I find myself when I'm starting to really worry about something, I just say that verse to myself over and over in my head, and before you know it, I'm feeling a lot better. And that really stood out to me.
Mm.
Good. I'm so glad you're here, Sarah. That's so great. So glad you're here.
I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
And to see your eyes and you speaking, and because I've seen you so much, it's like I feel like I'm re-meeting you. It's so
I
good.
know, I can't stop smiling. I'm so happy.
Okay, so we will say a final prayer, but I do want to point out something on the previous page that's absolutely amazing, that I think it's just a beautiful. So on 192, at the top of the page, which, Sarah, I don't know if you can get that, but it's paragraph 11 on the previous section. Are you all there?
Yes.
Yep.
I want to read this line, which I love. It's one of my, it's like literally blue and green and yellow, whatever. Okay, so the top, and it's line number 5. Let me read it to you. Do not deny yourself the joy that was created for you for the misery you have made for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
God has given you the means for undoing what you have made. Listen, and you will learn how to remember what you are.
Oh.
That's one of my favorite. That makes me cry every single time. I always say that every problem that you have in your life, I think you probably heard me say this before, every problem you have, any struggle that you've ever had in relationships, with money, with career, whatever, it's really asking you, do you remember? Because if you remember who you are, you're like, oh yeah, I'm the perfect light of God.
Hello.
Why am I worried if I don't get the fucking job? Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Take a deep breath, everyone. Let's close our eyes and pray. Thank you so much for this time together. Thank you so much for all of your beautiful, incredible input and your insights. And thank you so much for this beautiful reminder that we are not alone, that we have each other, and of course, through each other, we experience the peace of God. And we allow ourselves to go into this week a little softer, a little bit more aware of the love, and a little bit more in tune with choosing sanity over insanity. And we ask that anyone that is suffering in this world, in our lives, in our family, or our community, that of anything, physical, spiritual, or mental, that they are allowed to see the light of God and love that is within them right now. And we hold that vision for them, even though they might not see it right now. Take a big deep breath. Together we say thank you very much. So it is.
So it is. Amen.
It was beautiful, ladies. That was really nice. Thank you.
Thank
Very.
you.
All right, everyone. So I'm sure I'll see you soon. Let me stop the recording.